Peace, brothers and sisters. This is Dr. Sadiki Baye coming to you once again to share with you what the Creator has blessed me with in honor of the ancestors. Today's topic is going to be on cooperation. So put on your thinking caps and open up your mind's eye and your ears in order to receive the message that I'm giving to you so that we can be on the same page of seeing the same picture. Now, these are some very valuable subjects and topics that I'm presenting to you that I've been blessed with. So I like to share with you because each one of us have something to share, as I've always said. So cooperation. Cooperation. What is cooperation? Cooperation is a process of working together towards one goal. In other words, common effort. Also, it allows each participant to share the valuable information and opportunities to share with one another in order to reach a set goal. In other words, togetherness. Now, there are some benefits in cooperation. And some of the benefits of cooperation is bonding, sharing, support, unity, team effort, self worth, and personal power. These are some of the benefits in cooperation. Now, we must understand these terms here because don't forget we've been misled, they have misled us, misguided us, and misdirected us. And I am here to not change the laws, but to share them with you. So these are some of the things that I have embraced as the truth. And only the truth can set you free. Now, they're not only are there qualities or benefits of cooperation, there are qualities of cooperation. And when I think of qualities, I think of two things. Number one, sharing. Number two, determination. Now, let's look at those two things that I've come up with. Sharing. Sharing, it comes from a principle of Kwanzaa, which is Ujima, collective work and responsibility. And that means that we must come together to share the different ideas and opportunities that will lead us right to this point of our goals. Sharing the different ideas that we can come up with in order to contribute to get to the same destination. Now, determination also comes to mind a principle of Kwanzaa, which is kujichagulia, self-determination. Now, each one must be willing to be determined to be team players. To be team players. We must be willing to focus on the task at hand in order to get to satisfying our set goals. Now, these two principles of Kwanzaa, Ujima, collective work and responsibility, Determination, self-determination is Kujichagulia. These are the principles that we must embrace. Our teachers and leaders must embrace those and communicate them to us, to transmit them to us. Now, once again, we got to understand that Kwanzaa is not a religion. Kwanzaa are based on principles. And if you don't have those principles in your religion, then somebody's misleading you. We must embrace principle because everything is based on principles. So, since I gave you some qualities of cooperation, I will also like to share with you some of the words or terms that are related to cooperation. And what comes to mind is bonding. Yes, bonding. Support. Unity. Teamwork. Self-worth. And personal power. These are the qualities. These are the words that are related to cooperation. And we must get this, family, because we've been misled, misguided, and misdirected. And they got us so busy that we don't have time or even take the time to study. So I am here to share them with you. And you can take it and take it to another level. I just want to do my part. And there is no principle that is greater than giving. Giving is a principle. And we can't afford not to give. Because once you give, the universe will give back to you 100-fold. And we must understand that, and we must embrace that, and we must believe that. Some things we don't have to wait for somebody to tell us. Just go ahead on and embrace it and internalize it and execute it. Go ahead on and get your blessings. You deserve it. And that's why I'm here to remind you of these things. So, family, basic elements of cooperation. Basic elements. I'm going to give you different sides to this thing that we call cooperation because everything has many sides to it. Now, I want to give you some basic elements of cooperation. And the first element that comes to mind to me is group processing. That means group efforts, working together is group processing. Now, another one is positive interdependence. And what is positive interdependence? That means that we must depend on one another. We must depend on one another. Another element that comes to mind is group skills. And what is group skills? Your ability to get along with one another, to make this happen, to do all we can to focus on the group. And the last one that I can think of is group responsibility. So what is group responsibility other than accountability? We must be held accountable. We must be responsible to the team effort. Because everything is about the team. We are group-oriented people by nature, but they made us individuals. And we got to get out of this individualism. Because there is a difference between cooperation and individualism. Cooperation deals with the team, which means team or group motivation. Individualism deals with your personal self. You don't care about nobody but yourself. You're very selfish. It's all about selfish rewards. I got mine, you get yours. What kind of nonsense is that when we are group-oriented people by nature? You didn't get here by yourself, and you're not going to make it by yourself. It took a team to get you here. Don't forget, 2 or more is the team. Mom and dad. Or mother and father. Yes, we are group-oriented people by nature, and we must get back to the group concepts, the group efforts. We need to model ourselves by our ancestors. Let's model our ancestors and use them as a frame of reference, because they were blessed with the blueprint of life by our Creator to lead, guide, direct, and protect us. And we must embrace the spirit of our ancestors, because we are the ancestors having a human experience. So we must keep the connection with the spiritual ancestors. Whenever you need them, call on them. I've said that many times. Don't forget, repetition is the key to learning. We have 25 generations of deep programming, of living an illusionary life. We're in the dark pretending that we're in the light. So we must elevate. We must keep on climbing. Remember, Jacob's ladder goes higher and higher, but they got us stuck on one of the steps. So we must be intentional about our efforts. Now, we need to not be a hindrance to each other. We must be willing to cooperate, because that's what you call the beehive principle. You mess with one, you got to deal with all of them. The nationalistic principle. You mess with one, you got to deal with all of them. We used to be that way when we had community, common unity. Now they got us all over the place. When we integrated, they gave us a false sense of security that you don't need nobody. Do your own thing. You know what I mean? So we must be about the business of understanding that everything is about the process. And if you fulfill the process, you are automatically a winner. You will win if you are about the process. But no, what we do, if we come off the top of our head and just do whatever we feel and give us a false sense of security because we think that because I feel better, I must be better. Not necessarily. Because don't forget, those feelings and emotions is the very thing that got us in trouble. Why are we relying on them right now? Because a wise man goes by what he knows, not what he feels. Because feelings can be deceiving. It can cause you to misread, misjudge, and it can even cause you to disrespect. So, cooperative efforts results in higher achievements. Higher achievements. That's the results of cooperation. Not only higher achievements, but supportive and committed relationships. Wow. Supported and committed relationships. And it also creates higher self-esteem, because most of us have low self-esteem or no self-esteem. And that's why you see the results of it with our children, because they have a lack of cooperation. They are uncooperative. And what happens when you are uncooperative? There's 2 things that comes to mind. One is that you create resentment. The average person is walking around drowning in resentments, coulda, woulda, shoulda. They should have embraced certain relationships that they let pass them by. They allowed their emotions to deceive them, the coulda, woulda, shoulda thing. We let a lot of things pass us by, our family, by not cooperating, by being an individual. The second thing that comes to mind is deteriorating relationships. Whoo! When you don't cooperate, you deteriorate your relationship with others. And when you do that, then you are vulnerable. And the enemy is always watching. The enemy never, ever respects individuals. You don't have to. He'll knock you off and, one at a time. Boom, 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 boom. And that's what's happening today. We are basing everything on individualism. Cooperation is team effort, teamwork, team motivation. So we must be about the team. But in order to be about the team, we have to be about a frame of reference. We have to come from a frame of reference that's bigger than your individual self. And what is the frame of reference that we should be embracing? Our ancestors. They have some serious answers. And we must honor and respect them. And once we do, the success is ours. We have to be honorable people. Honorable. Cooperation is a skill that will allow you to understand that it causes you to work with balance with others. It gives you that kind of understanding of working with others with balance. There's a lot of benefits in cooperations, family, and this is what I want to give you. Some different sides to the benefits, the qualities, and the elements of cooperation. We must come as one. And because we turned our backs on cooperation, look at what has happened to our future. The ones that we are blaming, they didn't come here that way. They ended up that way, the way they are, killing and hating and disrespecting one another. That's not us. That's something else that we have become. And we have the audacity to blame them. What about the ones who came before them that took things for granted? And they ended up that way. That's why we have a lot of resentments. The average mother is drowning in resentments. That's why they have breast cancer. Cancer is when the white blood cells that's supposed to be our soldiers to protect the red blood cells, they attack the red blood cells. And blood is the lifeline of the body, of the human being. So when your lifeline gets weaker, you're vulnerable. And before you know it, you're out of here. So the different cancers. Cancers is a hate disease. Metaphysically. You hate so deeply about something and so long, your red blood cells actually destroys. The white blood cells actually destroy the red blood cells. And that's why the average female gets breast cancer, ovarian cancer, colon cancer, kidney cancer. And the man, he gets prostate cancer, all this heart stuff, and so forth and so on. Family, I'm telling you, we must elevate our consciousness. We must focus on our purpose for being here, and to create a legacy based on righteousness. Righteousness. How can you really know a person? How you can know a person is this. You can know a person's character by what they do. Let me say that again. You know a person's character based on what they do. So don't tell me you don't know me like that. If I see that you're doing the same thing over and over again, that's you. So maybe you don't know you like that. And when you don't know yourself, you don't know anything, because everything starts at home. And we're not talking about no building either. We're talking about the home of your mind. See, a hard head makes a soft ass. Yes, I said it. I'm real. The ancestors did not play. I'm honoring and representing them. If you did not make the necessary adjustments to get your balance and be a team player, they would disown you. They didn't care who you were. Because with them, it wasn't always who you are, but it was always what you are. And we got to go back to that, because sometimes we allow people who are not right, we give them a free pass. And what we do is we enable them by keep rewarding them for doing wrong. And in their minds, they're saying, well, why should I change if I'm getting everything I want? And it makes sense to me. So we must challenge them. Sometimes we have to let go and let God. But a lot of times we say that and we go right back and take it from God like he don't know what he's doing. That's the worst thing you can do. So God will take that very person or that very thing and whip your ass with it. That's why a lot of things and a lot of family members destroy other people, because of your style. It is what it is. Don't blind yourself. When you're about life, when you're about addressing an issue or going to war, the first thing you do is put a check on your heart, guard your heart, and use your mind. Because everything is mental. Now let me mention this real quick before I close, because I'm thinking about making my next video based on this, what I'm getting ready to share with you, the 10 Commandments, compared to the 42 principles of Mayat. The 10 Commandments is what God blessed Moses with, because these people were heathenistic people. They weren't right. So he had to give them the lowest of the commandments or the principles, the 10 Commandments. Love your brother. Love your neighbor. Man, they gave us that when I was little. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal. Man, I remember that when I was little. But yet, the pimps in the pulpit still teaching the older people the same old stuff. They playing on their intelligence. They're undermining their intelligence. Don't allow them to do that. They got you stuck in the first grade. That means you're not growing. You're not progressing. You're not elevating. They tell us the same stuff year after year, at the same time every year, playing with us, because they know that if I can control you, everything else about you comes with it, including your pockets. And that's what they're really after, because they have sold their souls to the system to get nonprofit status. So they got to fake you out. They got to create all kind of illusions. to have their way. Look at the average mega church leader or teacher, so-called leader, so-called teacher. They got big mansions, their private planes, Rolls Royces, big bank accounts. They have no need for nothing. But everybody else struggling to pay their utility bills, their rent, the mortgage. And then you go to them and ask for help. Guess what they say? I'll pray for you. Pray for me. Why pray when you can do? So you're blessed through your efforts. See, one thing about praying, we must understand. We got to stop praying so much. Praying is for beginners. A lot of that praying is for beginners. You see? So let's just be a prayer and stop praying so much. You see these Muslim people, they stop in the middle of this, walking down the sidewalk, and then they look at their time and all that, and they put their prayer rug down on the sidewalk and they start praying. Man, I can walk down the street and pray. It's all mental. God does not need our prayers. Prayers is for the individual to keep the connection. They're nothing but reminders. And the Muslims have to pray 5 times. You know how messed up that they are if you have to pray all of them many times per day. Are you for real? Just be a prayer. Just be. Everybody, all religions feel they got the answer. Religion is man-made. Spirituality is not. Because if you're spiritual, everybody's right striving for the same destination. Religion is just a way to get there. So why do everybody feel they got the only answer? That is crazy. That's what you call division. Don't allow the pimps in the pulpit to create division. I don't care what you call the pimps in the pulpit, a pastor, a minister, a rabbi, imam, or whatever. I don't care about your title. I'm looking at what you're doing. I got many titles. But it's what I do with those titles that makes it what it is, how I execute them. So the 10 Commandments, once again, are for beginners. They play on us. They insult our intelligence. So you're not going to grow. You're going to be stuck in the first grade. That's why everybody is frustrated. Got all this resentment. So we got to keep it moving. Keep adjusting. Keep transforming. Keep changing. Keep growing. But the 42 principles of Mayat, which are basically Egyptian principles, are for advanced people. And they are based on harmony, order, understanding, morality, justice. So, family, we must advance our minds to move up, not down, or go lateral. I'm not afraid to tell you the truth. I'm not here to change the laws. I'm here to fulfill them. And I know that I'm not popular. The ones who got their light shining, they're not popular people. Because if I've been in the dark for so long and some light come on the scene, the first thing I'll say is what? Turn them lights out. That's what we do. And instead of adjusting to the light, you want somebody to turn them out. So we have a lot of professionals at turning lights out. So let your light shine, because the truth is the light, and only the truth can set you free. And I'm here to promote the truth. So family, I love you, I bless you, and I want you to prosper. Always remember to stay strong and keep your faith where it belongs, because life is for the survival of the fittest. The more fit you are, the better chance you have to be here with balance, because everything is about balance, and that's a mental thing. Because they got us on the lowest level. Everything we think of is from a physical perspective, and that's why we are too and overly emotional. The less emotional you are, the more spiritual you are, or can be. And that can be a gauge to your growth. Do your best and let God do the rest. You got to know when to hold and know when to fold. How do I know when to hold and when to fold? I have to have a sharp discerning spirit to know the difference, so I won't deceive myself with emotions. Keep your head towards the universe, where all strength comes from, and never give up and never, ever, ever, ever give in. No matter how things seem, which is emotions, no matter how things seem, because everything is, always was, and always will be in divine order. God don't make no mistakes, but we do. But when you learn from your mistakes, it's all good. So keep on growing and keep on learning. You cannot go wrong. In order to win, you have to first be a winner. But guess what? Learning can be painful. But guess what? You can't beat the blessings. Get through the pain. Get through the storm and get to the calm. But we don't stick to nothing long enough. But guess what? Cooperation will do that, because there's a unified effort. There's team effort. You empower each other. The power is in the people. So keep your lights on and keep them bright at all times. Never allow nobody to turn your lights out. Family, I would invite you to check out my videos on YouTube and push subscribe and like and pass it on, because all of us have something to offer. I appreciate you. I am you and you are me. We are one. Keep your head up. Happy new journey. See you next week. Peace, Hotep, and Baraka. Much love with respect.